We're going to use Ohm's law and Watt's law to solve this circuit. You can see that up on the right hand side I've given you the two triangles that we need to show us Ohm's law and Watt's law. So E equals I times R is Ohm's law, and over here P equals I times E is Watt's law. I've also put some T's around the outside of this circuit. They represent either Ohm's law or Watt's law T's. So I have to give ourselves some numbers to get started. It's a simple circuit, series circuit, one path. There's no switch in this. So as soon as I connect to the negative, the electrons will flow through R1, through R2, and back to the positive. I'm going to make some numbers up here. So this is our Ohm's law. I'm going to say we have 120 volt source. And over here I have 10 ohms in this circuit and 20 ohms this resistor. From that, I can use my series circuit laws, and I know that R total in a circuit will equal R1 plus R2 in this case, so 10 plus 20 will give me 30 ohms total. Notice that I am keeping the positions in these T's the same as the triangles over here, and that helps me organize my work. Also, the T's on the left hand side by the source represent your totals, whereas the T's above or below these resistors represent the values at each resistor. Once I have two values, 120 volts and 30 ohms, I can divide that out, and the way I know that I need to divide it is that if I'm looking for amps, I put my finger over the I over here, and it shows me that E divided by R will give me I. So I have 120 divided by 30, and that will give me 4 amps. Now another law that we know about series circuits is that if this 4 amps is our total, I total equals the current at R1 and the current at R2. So I can go ahead and add 4 amps into this T and 4 amps into this T, and that will give me two numbers to work with at each resistor. Now I'm going to look at Ohm's law, and I know that E is equal to I times R, so 4 amps times 10 ohms will give me 40 volts, and down here 4 amps times 20 ohms will give me 80 volts. I also know in a series circuit that E total equals E1 plus E2, so I can double check. 80 volts plus 40 volts has to equal the 120, and it does. So now all of my Ohm's law T's are completed. I can start working on my Watt's law T's. Some of this information I can take over to the other side. So when we look at this, we know that the I and the E are needed at the bottom. In R1, our I was 4 amps and our E was 40 volts. So now I have two numbers to work from. 4 times 40 will give me 160 watts. And down here I had 4 amps and I had 80 volts. 80 times 4 is 320 watts. I can also look for the totals. I know that I have 120 volts total, and I had a total current of 4 amps. 4 times 120 is going to be 480 watts. And the last part of series circuit laws was that P1 plus P2 should equal P total. So 320 plus the 160 is 480 watts.